everyone, hope you're all doing well and welcome to a little cruise roundup, little cruise trip report, Q&A, mini haul, the whole thing. Let's get into it. I've got my funnel cup. I didn't get this on the last cruise, I got it on my first cruise that I did years ago. They still sell them, love it. But yeah, welcome to this little cruise trip report. So I recently went on a Disney cruise. It was a 7-night Mediterranean cruise on board the Disney Fantasy, and it set sail from Barcelona. We visited some amazing places in Sicily, Italy, Rome, Pompeii, Pisa. We did a lot and it was an amazing trip. If you've been following my vlogs, thank you so much for watching and commenting and messaging me. I've had so many messages of people saying it's getting them excited for their cruise and they've booked because they've watched the vlogs and it's convinced them that they want to do a cruise, and that's just so great to hear. And I know the Disney Fantasy, the same ship that I went on, is coming into the UK this year for the summer, and it was its first time doing that European sailing as well. So I know a few of you are heading on that in the summer. It's a different itinerary, might be a few less nights, different kind of places it's visiting, but I just wanted to kind of run through my thoughts and feelings on the Disney ship doing a Disney cruise, and hopefully it can help you plan or give you some ideas, or if you just kind of get excited about going on the cruise ship. Yeah, hopefully this video will help. If you've not watched the cruise vlogs yet, they're all on my channel. There's a playlist for the cruise. I vlogged every single day, all the kind of excursions we did, a room tour of our deluxe ocean view room, and the food. All of that is in the vlog, so make sure you watch that. Make sure you're subscribed as well. Lots of vlogs coming up. More cruise vlogs coming up this year and some new Disney destinations. And yeah, if you are new to my channel, my name is Laura and it's all about the Disney over here, all about the trips, some other kind of theme parks as well around the world. And whenever I can get on these amazing trips, then I do vlog them and share any kind of knowledge that I get along the way. And yeah, I did ask on my Instagram as seeing if anybody had any questions on the cruise. And thank you to everybody who sent in a question. I've got a few of them to run through as well. And yeah, I'll answer all them in this video too. And then I have popped on my Instagram as well and my TikTok. If you're not following me, make sure you follow me along on there because I share a lot of stories, lots more pictures and things as well. I did pop on there my cruise haul. You might have already seen it, but at the end of this video, I'm going to go through all the little bits that I bought and maybe it gives you some inspiration on the merch that you want to get on the cruise. I am wearing 2 of the things that I bought. I'm just going to run through then highlights of the cruise, things that we didn't expect, things that we surprised us, what we loved. It was an amazing cruise as expected from Disney. This was actually my family's first ever cruise. So I went on the cruise with my partner Kieran, my mum, my dad, my sister, my brother-in-law, and they've got 2 kids. So my niece and nephew. My niece is 1 and my nephew is 5. So yeah, it was their first experience on a cruise and a Disney cruise. It's actually my second time doing a Disney cruise, but the first cruise I ever did was in 2021. These very restricted cruises. They obviously wanted to get back providing trips and cruises for people, but it was still in that time of restrictions through the pandemic. So it was very different. So it just was 3 days at sea, I believe, and it was on the Magic. So that was the first cruise ship that Disney brought out. So it's the oldest ship. And yeah, it was very different. I also got really seasick. Second day in, I got really sick and was wiped out for pretty much 1 day. So yeah, if you are doing a shorter cruise and you kind of get a little bit of travel sickness and motion sickness, I did pop this on my video, but do go down to the health centre on the first deck and grab some seasick tablets. They're free to take. They have a little box outside. They obviously, lots of people, it's a common thing. So grab some of them and keep up with them if you can. Read the instructions as well. They have a little sheet of how to deal with seasickness as well. So it's all good. And you can buy them yourself, if you're prone to stuff like that, you probably know. But anyway, so this was kind of my first proper Disney cruise. And that's why I wanted to vlog it. And it was a 7-night cruise. And we were doing excursions as well. So yeah, it was very different to the first one I did. And I completely fell in love with Disney cruises. I completely fell in love with cruises. After the first one I did, and obviously being sick, I was like, oh, get me off the ship. Don't think cruising's for me. And it was a different time and, all of the stuff going on. But this one was just amazing. When Disney can do a full cruise at the best ability and everything's running, and yeah, everything's available. It's just fantastic. So the Fantasy, it was the 4th cruise ship that Disney built. So you had the Magic, the Wonder, the Dream, and then the Fantasy. And the Dream and the Fantasy, I call them like sister ships. They're pretty much identical, some slight different things on there. You have done the Dream before, you probably see a lot of the same stuff on the Fantasy. And it definitely felt bigger when we went on the ship. It definitely felt bigger to the Magic, obviously it is, but you could feel it kind of in the atrium and the kind of the spacing and things. And yeah, this was one of its first sailings from Europe. So we did set sail from Barcelona. And people do ask me where I book my Disney holidays and the Disney cruise. And I book everything through Ever After Holidays. Now, this isn't sponsored at all. I paid for everything myself with this cruise. Not sponsored to say anything, but I do get people asking. And it's actually where I work. So my full-time job is with Ever After Holidays. So obviously I will always book my Disney destinations and my travel through them. A few trips coming up in the year, everything booked through there. But yeah, we can do the Disney cruises and book them. So we booked the cruise through Ever After Holidays. That's where I obviously would recommend to go, but not sponsored, not an ad, just letting people know that's where I book my trips. And we actually booked a guaranteed rate on the room. So you do sometimes see for example, we had a deluxe ocean view stateroom with restrictions or guaranteed. It's worded like guaranteed ocean view with restrictions. So what it tends to mean is they choose the stateroom for you. So if you have a particular area you want to be on the ship, I mean, it's kind of like, there are certain areas now being on it, I go like, oh, I would prefer to be there, or we loved where we got put on the midship deck 2. We were right underneath the atrium and really good location for the lifts and things, weren't too far away, but nothing is too far away. There's always like lifts in 3 places on the Fantasy, so you kind of, I mean, I was lost every single day in it, I'm not gonna lie, I'm terrible at the direction. Yeah, it doesn't feel like you're too far away wherever you are. You're not too bothered where you are. That is sometimes a good way of saving some money. The only thing is it makes them non-refundable and you can't like amend them and change them. So we booked it only a few months before we were going. So we knew we wanted to go. We were actually looking into going to Disneyland Paris as a family. We did that the year before and we did love Paris. But when we priced it up and we wanted to do like the Marvel Hotel, my dad actually suggested, oh, I fancy doing something a little bit different. Maybe not the whole kind of Walt Disney World holiday this year, but something different. And he actually was looking into the cruises from the UK, but we wanted a little bit longer. And then, yeah, he just thought, oh, we could do the Barcelona one because we kept looking from like Southampton. I was like, yeah, we can do Barcelona. Obviously, this does mean like going out there. We went there the day before. Hotel was lovely where we stayed. This is all kind of in my travel day and embarkation day vlog. So make sure you watch that to get the details of that. And the port is really close to the main kind of like 20-minute drive from the main centre. And I absolutely loved Barcelona. I would totally go back there. So yeah, that worked out all good. But and the stateroom worked out good. So they allocated our room. We checked in 30 days before. And this can change as well depending on, I won't go into all of the details of like the levels of Castaway, Key Club, but it depended on kind of what club level you are. They have like first-time sailors, silver, gold, platinum, pearl. It actually hadn't registered me as this is my second sailing, so I was technically a silver member. So I could have probably maybe checked it a little bit earlier, I'm not too sure. But either way, we checked in kind of on the day we could check in to get our port arrival time. And then once we checked in, I think it was only a couple of weeks after, they then allocated our room. So they can sometimes do that up until kind of the few days before, straight away. It wasn't a clear kind of idea when they would allocate it, but we did get the allocation before we went anyway. It wasn't like when we got on the ship, but I don't know, that could happen, I'm not too sure. We got it a few weeks before. We booked everything together, even though we had 3 staterooms, we were all linked together, and they gave us all rooms linked together as well, which was really good. I mean, it's not guaranteed, obviously, when if you're in a big party and you're getting this restricted guaranteed room, there's lots of kind of like T&Cs with it, so have a little look into it before you commit to anything. But we were really pleased. We weren't too bothered if we were like scattered around the ship either. Yeah, we weren't too bothered about being next to each other, but it was very nice that we were in the end. And my mum and dad, sister and the kids and my brother-in-law had like a interconnecting room, so they could go between the rooms. And yeah, absolutely loved the room. I did a veranda the first time that I went on a Disney cruise. This was an ocean view, but the rooms were very similar to the Magic. Big double bed, pull-out bed. Definitely felt like good space. The porthole was lovely to look at. Not done an inside stateroom yet, but I had a little look. I was talking to one of the cast members who was doing our rooms. I chatted to him nearly every day. He was very, very sweet. And we just had a little conversation. The room across from us was like an inside stateroom, and it looked really good, like spacious. So before you get on the ship, you always should download the Disney Cruise Line Navigator app, and you can do everything through there, and it's really easy to use. So you link your reservation there, you'll see your details on there, and then when it comes to booking excursions and dining, like adult dining and lots of other bits, you can just kind of explore on there. Once you get on the ship, it changes and you see all the activities, you see where you're dining each night. You can message your group on there, like do a messaging service thing. WhatsApp did work as well when I was on the cruise ship. And the days we were at sea, I just put my phone to airplane mode, but WhatsApp did work. And then like the messaging on the app does work then. So if you're not buying the internet, which is quite pricey, yeah, you can communicate through there with your party, which is good. But yeah, get the app, have a little play around with there. It's got like the map of the ship and yeah, you can get a kind of an idea of the ship on there. And then I think the excursions I did do, you can go online as well if you want to and do everything through there for your reservation, and you can do it on the app also. Sometimes apps can be a bit temperamental, but I think I did them on both. But yeah, when you go on the My Plans on the app, it'll let you know the day. So like first day at sea, second day we were in Sicily, and etc. And it will let you know like add plans, and it'll come up and give you a date of when you can add the plans, because it can depend on your Castaway Key membership. So we booked our excursions as well before we went on the ship, because we were going to such amazing places. And there was Rome on this itinerary, there was Pisa, there was Pompeii. We definitely wanted to book some excursions. And they do list, you can find these online as well, but they list all the excursions when you go to add the plans. And again, I'd always recommend doing it as soon as possible because they can book up. The ones we were on, there was 50 people on at each time. And there's lots of different ones. We went for a half day Pompeii, a full day in Rome, and a half day Pisa. And they were all the same price, I believe, $119. And it'll tell you the price when you're booking them. You don't pay then, they just go onto your kind of your cruise bill, because you've linked up like your card and everything, like your payment method when you check in. Yeah, everything gets put through there and it gets automatically paid. Well, ours did anyway. It kind of, I think when I went on the first cruise, we paid it at guest services, like had to actually physically pay with our credit card. But this time it was all linked and it automatically came out. So I'm not sure if that was something I pressed or that's just the way it is nowadays. I'm not sure, but it kind of staggered like over the days. Like the excursion money came out and then like the gratuity money came out. So it was like over a couple of days. But yeah, that can go on. You can cancel them, 24 or 48. I'll pop it on the screen when I find out. But yeah, because my sister was not sure whether she was definitely going to do Pisa. In the end, they did do it, but they didn't do Rome. They spent the day on the ship when we went to Rome. And it is great to do the excursions, and I'll go into a little bit of detail in a second on them, but also great when most of the guests are off the ship, because it's such a different vibe. You have the ship to yourself. It's crazy. Like we did a little bit of half day, even coming back and having a couple of hours in the afternoon when people were still off. It was so much quieter, like the pool area and the aqueduct and things like that. But it never felt busy on the ship. Now, I don't know whether it was at capacity, probably not, because it definitely didn't feel too busy. It did at first, like, I'm not going to lie, it was very exciting. Like, it was amazing to go on the ship, but you are like, whoa, like overwhelmed. And I think especially then if you hit like cabanas and if you walk through deck 11, which you'll hear me refer to, that is like the pool sunbathing area. And you've got the music, you've got the funnel vision TV going on, and it's busy around there. Like everybody was kind of there because it was like beautiful weather and everyone was out there. So I think at first we were like, oh my God, like it's just, there's a lot of people. Then you go to the buffet and it's busy, and it's just kind of getting used to being like there on the ship, and there's just so much going on. You don't know which way you're going. I still didn't know, even 7 days in. But anyway, yeah, it can be a bit like, when we looked back on it, we actually thought, well, we never queued really for the buffet. It wasn't like a massive queue and you're waiting ages. We never queued for a drink at the drinks machine. We always were just there and it was free. Like, the lifts weren't busy. There was many a time we were on our own in the lifts. Queuing for the characters wasn't that long. So actually, like, there's still plenty of people on there to give it like that atmosphere, but it wasn't as crowded as I thought it would be, which was good. And again, there's lots of areas in the cruise ship that you can find that are much quieter than deck 11 anyway, where that's the main, the atrium I kind of say is like the heart of the cruise ship and like the main hub kind of area, but then deck 11 is the kind of, it's where the food is and the bars and the walkways and the stairs leading up to like the adults only bit and the sports bit. It's kind of the middle area where like funnel vision is, the pool, the slides. My sister and brother-in-law and the kids, like they spent a lot of time there. So yeah, you can imagine it is a busier area, but lots of other places. There's, you know, you can 1 minute be in the bar drawing Daisy Duck, then you can be in Paolo having brunch, and then you can be up sunbathing. There's just so much to do in different areas. And yeah, so the cruise was 7 nights. We had a day at sea our first day, then we were stopping off then at different ports, Sicily, Palermo, which was just one where we walked off the ship. That was really nice to do. We didn't have an excursion that day. And then we were in Naples for Pompeii. We were then in, I can never say the word. I'm going to pop it on the screen. I still can't say this word. And it's Civicavecchia. Terrible, I know, but we were there. That was the port that then got us to Rome. And then we were in Livorno for Pisa. And then we had one more day at sea and then we were heading back to Barcelona. Talking about the excursion, I'll start with this and get it out the way and we can just be full positive. And I'm going to stay positive. That this trip was extremely special to me and my family. If you have watched my vlogs before, you'll know. If you've not, in May 2024, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. And it's actually, when we set sail on the cruise, it was a year to the day. And that wasn't intentional. We just knew we wanted to do a family trip before I got back to work. And just after kind of all the treatment that I've been through and the year that we'd all been through, it was special to do something together. And how it ended up being like on the actual day that I was told I had cancer, it was crazy. And yeah, I don't take it for granted 1 second being able to go on these trips and feeling healthy enough to go on these trips. That was like the main thing. So yeah, and it was amazing that seeing these places, like when I look back, and I think just sometimes in the moment, and you probably, if you've been to the parks and stuff, you can kind of get like, oh my God, there's lots going on. I'm trying to fit everything in. And you know, it's a lot of money and it's a lot of like, you try to plan it and do it perfect and things don't go right. That's just life. And that's just, you know, being on these kind of trips. But yeah, looking back, I was like, wow, we saw like 4 cities and we saw the main places in Italy in like a week. Like there's still other places I'd like to visit, but it's just when you look back, you go, yeah, like we fit a lot in that time. Taking a few notes of what surprised me on the cruise. As I say, I'll get this out the way and then we can just talk about the best bits. But we did have 3 back-to-back excursions. We know we wanted to do that. Looking at the itinerary, we couldn't have gone and not gone to the places. I feel like I wanted to get off the cruise ship. And I don't know whether it was just being in a big group of people that we haven't done a holiday like this where we do tours. We usually go to Walt Disney World, we're on our own, we know what we're doing. You're in a crowd of people, but you're all on your own time. I think being in a tour group and not being used to it was, you have to be patient. And that's what I said in my vlogs. People have to be patient with you have to be patient with people. Like we didn't have anything to come back to on the ship. It just, on the Rome day, it was, we had dinner at a certain time and we missed that. But I feel like you got in your head, okay, I'm out for 4 hours. I'll be back on the ship. And just everything takes longer and everything's like an hour's added on to everything. And actually the time you have in the place. So like Pompeii was like a 6-hour day in total. We only had like an hour in Pompeii actually doing the tour, maybe an hour and a half. Everything else was the travel and everything else was like the checking people on the coach and everything else was, we stopped off at a random place on the way back, which since I've been back, my friend went to Italy and she was like, it might be like the tour has been told to go there. But I was like, but booking with Disney, you think that wouldn't happen? I don't know. Everything just kind of took a bit longer and you get to a point with like, well, I think everybody just wanted to get back on the cruise ship. And again, when we booked the Rome day, it was a 10-hour tour. It was down on the details. We knew it was going to take a little bit longer, and Disney had emailed us to say like Rome and Italy is generally much busier because of the Catholic Church Jubilee. So we were expecting it to be busy and everything. That was fine. It wasn't the point that it was busy. Again, just everything taking longer with travelling. And then we were sold this hop on, hop off bus. And like I say, I go into detail with this on my Rome day because I don't want to kind of bore anyone with the whole story again. But that just didn't work for us, that bus. And it kind of, we'd had something else booked in that we booked separately. We had the Colosseum tour. And then because we're thinking we had loads of time to get there, and you'd think an 8 a.m. tour, you'd be able to get to somewhere for 12:30 when they told us it's an hour and a half travel. But we just were constantly clock watching and panicking about getting to A to B and then carrying on. And the day just kind of went, and it is a very short amount of time you get. So we should have known really, like, you're not going to get the full experience. And I guess if we went back to Rome and did like a full weekend there or something, it'll be different. But don't know, comparing to like when we had the night in Barcelona and a little bit in the morning, that was really good. I enjoyed that. And I liked the kind of vibe of that city. It flowed a little bit better for me. Rome just didn't. I just didn't kind of, I don't know what it was. Couldn't really take in the amazing things we were seeing. It was fantastic to see. Like, I am so happy I've ticked that off my list of seeing the Colosseum, seeing the Trevi Fountain. But again, super busy, running out of time. And then all the time goes on the transportation and the transferring people. And that's just kind of how it felt. And then Pisa was a really good day. I did enjoy that. There was some little niggly bits, but I did really enjoy that day. So yeah, I'd say, I mean, if you're desperate to go these places, and I know people do their own transportation, we booked everything through Disney and did. I don't even know if like me and Kieran, if it was just us two, we would have done our own thing. I think I still would have booked through Disney because the thought of like trying to get anywhere, I don't know. I consider myself like well-travelled. I've done lots of different city travelling and stuff, but when you've never been to a place and like you've got the option there of paying, like just you get on a bus, and it was so easy on the bus and you're there. But yeah, I know some people will have done their own thing and travelled about and made their own way there and just been a bit more confident, I think it was, with like the public transport. But if you are late and you don't make it back to when the ship's sailing away, they do leave without you. If you've booked through Disney, they'll wait for you. So that's kind of, even though there was probably no way we would ever have like, to be fair, the Rome day, they were kind of packing down. We were the last bus, I believe, that day, or second to last bus coming in. And they were all outside, the cruise directors and stuff, like, you know, making sure those buses were coming in and the people were getting on. So it was quite close on the Rome day. But if I was to do this cruise, exactly the same cruise again, probably wouldn't do an excursion, or I would maybe do one and have more time on the ship. Because I also think if I had too much time on the ship, would I want to go off the ship? It's kind of just balancing it out. I'd say if you're doing the shorter sailings, you might go, actually, I don't need, if it's ported up and you can walk out into the town and come back, that might be nicer and you have a bit more time on the ship, because there's so much on the ship that we didn't do, didn't have time to kind of just sit back and relax. Yeah, what surprised me was like the clock watching. Like, I know I get a lot of that when we go to the theme parks, and especially if you're booking like dining reservations and fast passes, and it can become like, you know, you're looking at a lot of different things to kind of clock watch and make sure you make your reservations. But the cruise felt like that a little bit more than I thought it would. I thought it'd be a bit more chilled and we could just do whatever. And don't get me wrong, there were days where, you know, you just on the day at sea, like, yeah, I fancy doing this and this and this. And, you know, next minute it was dinner, and, you know, it did feel like we were like, okay, we've got to get to this. And sometimes moving around like 8 people, and you've got kids as well and things. Yeah, there was definitely not a lot of downtime. Even though we had 7 nights on the cruise, I don't know. Me and Kieran certainly had time. I know it was a little bit different to like my sister and everything with the kids, and I'll get onto that in a second as well, because that was one of my questions. But yeah, on the topic of that as well, the dinner, so they do allocate you a dinner time, because there are 3 sit-down restaurants and you do like a rotation of them. On the 7-night cruise, you get to do them all twice. There's a theatre show 3 times out of the 7 days, and you get to do that either before your dinner or after your dinner, depending on what allocated time you get. Now, we had a 6 p.m. dinner, so we were counted as the early dinner sitting, which usually is what I recommend for people if they've got kids. And I think a lot of the time that dinner allocation is kind of for families with kids. I don't know, I feel like dinner just came around so fast. It was like we'd be on obviously excursions and whatever, and then it was like 6 o'clock or it was 5:30 and we had to get ready for dinner. And I spoke to a few people about this who've gone, oh no, I like the early sit-in because it's done with. If I was having my later dinner, I'm waiting all day and we're eating quite late on and then we're too full and then you kind of want to go out and you're missing the evening time. I don't know, I just felt as we came off, like even with the kids, we could have done a later sit-in because the kids, they don't go to sleep too early. They do stay up later. They don't kind of have a 7 o'clock bedtime or anything, and especially on a Disney cruise. So yeah, I think we could have done a little bit of a later dinner reservation. But yeah, that did surprise me that we probably would have preferred the late one. So yeah, I'd just say think about the excursions. Do you really, really want to do them? Just have your patient pants on for those excursions. Or yeah, if you're confident enough, do your own thing. Just obviously consider making sure you've got enough time and you're going back to the ship. And it is a great way of seeing these places. Like I still say, I'm so happy that we ticked off all those places within a week. And looking back on pictures, it's like, oh my God, I've got a picture by the Colosseum, I've got a picture by Leaning Tower of Pisa, and it was an amazing itinerary, it really was. But for my next cruise, we are doing a 7-night and we're not going on any excursion. We haven't booked a single excursion. We are going off the ship on a few times, but doing it all at our own pace. I just think that'd work better. From my personal experience, just going on the cruises, it just works better. What I'll do next is just run through the questions that I got off Instagram. Thank you again for everybody who sent a question in. I'll just run through these and then I'll go through some of my highlights. So I'm just gonna run through these questions in order that I got them. A lot of them, some of them quite similar, kind of like going on the ship with kids and things. But yeah, I'll try and answer them as best I can. So first question then is, do you think it's worth doing just as a couple with no kids? Yeah, absolutely. These cruise ships are catered for everybody. Families with kids of all ages, couples. There's lots of things to do that are just adult only. You've got a whole adult only area of the cruise ship. It's deck 13, Kieran lived up there. There's a bar up there. And then all to the front of the ship, if I've got it wrong, I'm popping it on the screen because I honestly still don't understand the front and the back of the ship. And you'll see that in my vlogs, I'm lost all the time. But the front of the ship, I believe it was the adults only bit. So there was one day where me and my sister got a drink and we just went in this little kind of like pool area. And there was lots of people sunbathing around there. And then the two kind of seating areas and with the bar in the middle, that's all adults only. You are looking down then into like an adults only pool. So you'll see the Cove Cafe, which is where you get the specialty coffees and certain drinks. That's all adults only. And then you've got a whole area outside there. So you've got a pool, not too big, but it's a decent sized pool with a swim up bar. And we actually didn't get to do that. I think it was just a little bit too busy the few days that we had. And then the only time I kind of went in the water was with my sister and when I went on the aqueduct with Caleb. So yeah, I would have loved to have done that. But yeah, we did kind of sit in that area and had a couple of drinks, me, mum and dad and Kieran. Yeah, that's all adults only. You've also got the fine dining is all adults only as well, like adult dining, they call it on the app. So on the Fantasy, it's Remy, Paolo, and you've got the Meridian Bar in between there as well. And yeah, most of the time, me and Kieran were kind of on our own. So we do quizzes on our own, and a lot of the bars are kind of family in the day, and then later on at night, they turn into just adults only again. And there's quizzes. If you do like drinking alcohol, they do like tasting classes. So I did a champagne one when I went on my first cruise, but they had them all going on in the bars. So like whiskey tasting, mixology, all of these can be booked through the app as well. And then we went to the cinema and that was like full of families and stuff, but it was absolutely fine. And then obviously all like the kids club areas are very separate. When the characters are out and about, yeah, there's like a mixture of everybody, but it never felt like, oh, I'm in a kids club like 24/7. Absolutely not. Like my next Disney cruise, I'm going with my best friend. So it's just going to be me and her. And I would, yeah, absolutely. There's plenty to do, adults only. And if you don't have kids, there's so much to do. My next question, which is kind of a little bit more about having children with you on board and on the Disney cruises. So how did you find the entertainment with young children? So the theatre shows, so they have like Broadway level shows on the ship. My nephew loved it. He's nearly 6, so he kind of can watch the show fully, knows all the songs, all of that. My niece, she was getting a little bit wriggly, like, you know, half an hour in. Did well, but I think one time when they went to watch Frozen, she had to kind of leave. She just was like fed up and wanted to leave. But she absolutely loved the atrium. She likes a little dance, like if the music was on and there's a piano player or the band was on. Sometimes it can be a bit busier in the atrium at certain points, especially like just before dinner or after dinner, if the princesses are out as well. But she was really good with the pirate show. She absolutely loved that as well. But yeah, they did like a separate pirate show as well on the pirate night, and she was really good at watching that. Say she's only nearly 2 and she loved it. Again, the show, she's probably not old enough to like fully appreciate them, but any kind of little music going on or characters walking by, meeting the characters, she was really good with as well. We didn't do any kind of like family karaoke or family quizzes, like more catered to kids. We didn't do really any of them. We did do some quizzes and she was with us and the kids were with us, but they preferred to, it was like my nephew preferred being in the kids club. Fill the day kind of with my niece and what she can do. Say my nephew went in the kids clubs and he could kill a few hours in there, but she was too young to go in there. You have to be 3 or over. And she was too young to go in the pool. Now she could go in the little splash area that's like a Nemo splash area. She could go in there and she loved it there. And she could go in the nursery as well. So my mum did take her into like the Small World nursery and she just loved playing with like the hand wash thing and all of that and just was running around there. Next question is, what was the entertainment like during the meals? Oh, it was so good. I loved the meals. I loved them all. So our first meal was in the Royal Court. That one isn't as entertainment central. Actually, there's no entertainment in the Royal Court. It's a very regal, princess, beautiful restaurant. Our servers were out of this world amazing. Our main server, he did a little bit of magic. He was really good at the kids. I mean, they're so fast at what they do and organised and, you know, getting all the food out, and it just blows my mind how amazing they were. But yeah, he was really good with Caleb. Every night did a couple of magic tricks. So by like the second night in, Caleb was like, what's your magic trick tonight? And, you know, what are you doing tonight? So definitely like in Royal Court where there's not a lot going on entertainment wise, like the server was really good at keeping the kids busy. They had like colouring books and things with every menu, so that was good. But then the other 2 restaurants, you have Animator's Palette, which is probably one of my favourite restaurants I've ever done for Disney, and certainly one of my favourite ones on the Disney cruise. The first night was like a crushed turtle theming, so like Nemo themed. In Animator's Palette, there's screens all around the restaurant, so you see what's going on the screens. They did this whole kind of like dance, like surfer wave dance thing going on. So all the servers were up and clapping and getting everyone involved, and that was really cool. And Crush was talking to tables, and if you've ever done Turtle Talk with Crush, I think it's called, in Epcot, yeah, that's kind of the vibe, and he was like talking to the kids, and that was really fun. But the second night that we did in Animator's Palette is my favourite, which is where you get to draw your character, and they then pop it on the screen and Mickey's there, and I just love it. It's so good, like looking out for your character, and they play music and you're clapping along, and there's always something going on in our Animator's Palette. It's always like, because the screens are around and the lighting and the music and the servers, if there's nothing going on, the servers are like entertaining as well. So yeah, we loved it there. I think that was probably what our favourite meal, I think, as a family. I'm kind of going to guess it was my favourite meal anyway, but looking back on the vlogs and stuff, I was like, that was so much fun. And then Enchanted Garden, which is the other restaurant, one of the nights the characters did surprise us and come out and do a little bit of like a walk around and waving to us, and they're playing a song and stuff. So that was really cool. I didn't expect that to happen, so that was cool. And then the other night was our last night, so wasn't much going on there. Again, the servers would always kind of entertain, and they're just so beautiful, the restaurants. There's always like something going on or something to look at. Okay, and next question, someone's put, been loving your vlogs. I'm going with my 3-year-old and my 11-month-old in September. We would love to know any more about it, how it was for your niece and nephew. Was there plenty for them to do? Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I briefly just talked about it then. So nephew, he was great. He loved the kids clubs. I think they're great if you've got a child who maybe goes to nursery or school. There's lots going on in there. We had a little bit of a tour. You can go around and have a look before they kind of become kids clubs. It's like a bit of an open house, I think they call it. So there was like a Toy Story room, and there was like a big dance floor, and there's like animation classes, little video games, there's a Star Wars area. So lots going on. So he really liked that, and he wanted to go in there. He did ask a lot of the time, like, can I go back to kids club? And what he did was he got a band like a magic band almost that he could go in with. And then if he wanted to finish, they would just alert the app to the parent and say, can you pick him up? And then all of us were down on the list to be able to pick him up as well. So yeah, he liked that. I think that's 3 over. I don't know the exact ages, but they have like a 3 to, I think 10, but I'm not sure, club. They have like a teen club as well. But we didn't see any of that area. Well, actually, we did by mistake because we went in the lift. And some like kids went in the lift to go up there, and we walked out, me and my sister, thinking we were in the right place. And they're like, you're in the teen club, you need to go away. So yeah, that's all kind of protected with the lifts and stuff as well. It's all kind of secure, which is good. And yeah, my nephew loved the pool. He spent a lot of the time in the pool, a lot of the time on the aqueduct, which he loved, and went to did he go to the cinema? Obviously, there's a cinema which plays the films all throughout the day. There's family karaoke. There's so much going on. I can't list out the top of my head all of the stuff that goes on the cruise ships, like the drawing classes, the craft classes. There is so much, and every single day there's like a list of things, and you can heart them on the app, and then that goes into your plans then. But there's always something going on. Character meet and greets as well. So we booked the Royal Gathering ahead of time. That's where you meet all the princesses. So my niece did that. She was really good with that. She met Cinderella twice. She loved meeting the characters. So they're usually in the atrium. And again, you can get the times on the app once you get on board. And yeah, really nice way of meeting the characters. I'm not really a character person, but I enjoyed standing in the atrium, just people watching, waiting for like meeting Minnie or Mickey or whatever. They also do something, now I don't know the name, I'll pop a little clip in here because I did film them setting this up, but I didn't actually film what it was. But it's like I think it's called Diaper Dash. I've seen it in other vlogs, but they basically, if you want to put your baby in a race, it's a bit for babies who can't walk, obviously, and they do like a little race. It's like Jack from The Incredibles. I think it's Jack's Diaper Dash. I'm not too sure, but yeah, I have seen it on vlogs. So just search for it on vlogs and yeah, have a little watch. But that's definitely something for babies. Yeah, they do also have the Small World Nursery, so you can. I think it is an additional cost to do that if you're going to leave the child in there to kind of they have like cots set up so they can nap and things, and all the information is online. Obviously you can go speak to a cast member when you're on board as well. My mum did go in there to kind of do a little bit of colouring and things with Lily. I don't think they paid any extra because she was with her. I think it was just like more of the baby area that she could go in as opposed to like the kids club. But yeah, there's so much to do. Again, it depends on the child, it depends on kind of your family kind of routine or something. Like, you know, I just don't think we have a routine, to be honest. So yeah, we kind of would just like find out what to do, but you know kind of what your kids like. There's definitely plenty to do for all ages. They do make sure they cater for every age in the family. Maybe a little bit more so for like 3+. But again, you can kind of work out once one child is maybe in the kids club or something, work out what to do with the under 3 as well. So yeah, absolutely loads to do. Next question was, what was your favourite excursion? I did have a favourite. The Pisa one was probably my favourite, even though, yeah, I think I was done with excursions by then. But going to the Leaning Tower of Pisa was amazing. It's very different to what I thought it would be. I thought it would be like on an open kind of road and whatever, but it's almost like a courtyard, like all kind of walled in. And it had the amazing like Baptist church area, the big cathedral, and the Leaning Tower of Pisa. We got to go in the other 2 buildings, but we didn't go into the tower. You have to book your tickets way in advance for that, and it wasn't on our tour. And I think it's about 300 steps, and it was really hot, and I was not feeling that at all. So yeah, we did decide to do that. It was only a short day, and I probably wouldn't have needed a full day there, but I would have liked maybe an hour or 2 more, just so we could maybe sit and have, there's not tons of restaurants to be fair, but maybe sit and have a drink, have some food there. It did just feel like quick, you're on the tour, then you get left for like half an hour. You know, I just literally bought some magnets, bought a bottle of water, took some pictures by the tower, and it was time to go. So it was very, very quick. I think out of all of them, I did like that one. It just seemed to run a bit smoother. It was really cool to see the Leaning Tower in person, finally. And yeah, I did really like that day. Right, next question is, what were your must-dos on board the Fantasy? I'm probably going to forget some thinking off the top of my head. Yeah, I had a couple of must-dos like in my head before I went on the ship. I really wanted to meet Mickey in his captain outfit. I think a character meet and greet is a must-do for sure. Pirates Night is a must-do. Definitely get involved with that. It's a lot of fun. The show I think is amazing. Must do a theatre show, like do one of them. There was 3 on board. Me and Kieran just did Aladdin and the Disney Believe show. I think a must-do of mine now, if I was going on a ship and they had this on their activities, would be the tour. I think this was 18 over. It was a complimentary tour of the ship, and I only saw it on our last day. I don't know whether they had it on the other day at sea, on the first day, but it was like a quick hour tour looking at like the Imagineering of the ship, and I absolutely loved that. So that would be, if I was to go on a cruise or the next cruise I go on, if they had that available, that would definitely be a must-do. Finding out when Mickey churro waffles are on and getting Mickey churro waffles. They were the best breakfast item I've ever had. Usually I think they're on the last day of sailing, but check with your server, but must do, absolutely. As well as getting a Cove Cafe coffee with the character on top. I think that's an absolute must do as well. And watching a film on funnel vision, ideally at night. I think it's really nice at night. It's a lot quieter. You can grab yourself some food, grab some drinks, and get under the blanket and yeah, under the stars, watch a Disney film. We did that watching Star Wars, and it was so cool. We actually were so tired, we fell asleep. We only watched about an hour of it, but just watching like the intro, and you're like, where else can you like watch like a Disney film in the middle of the ocean, like under the stars, on an open deck? Like, I definitely would recommend doing that in the evening time when it's a little bit quieter and it's cooler outside and you can kind of cuddle under a blanket and just chill. But yeah, that's definitely another must do. Also must do, have the app, use the app. Don't have to be tied to it, you know, but a lot of time you don't have internet. If you're not paying for the internet package, you're not kind of scrolling, you know, the usual stuff. Well, that's what I'm like anyway. So you do have a little bit of time to look through the app and get used to it and see what's going on and maybe try something different. That's probably another must do. Like try a quiz or a crafting. They have things like how to make the towel animals and how to napkin fold and random things like that. There's always something going on, but maybe try something a little bit different that you wouldn't do, you know, on another holiday or something. Like, oh, that's quite interesting. And like the tour, I went on the tour by myself. I knew I'd like it, but no one else was really fussed. I was like, well, no, I want to do it. So I went on there, met some nice people, were chatting to people there. And yeah, just something a little bit different. Definitely must do on a cruise because they provide so much entertainment and activities throughout the day. And last question, tell us one thing that you learned on the cruise that you would pass on as a tip. Kind of covered it then through my must-dos. Utilise the app as much as you can. Have a little look when you first get on. It can be a bit overwhelming because you're like, oh, where am I going for dinner? And well, what's this? What's that? But if you do have time when you get on the cruise and when you've got we kind of got our staterooms, then it was getting ready, then it was dinner time and all of this stuff. But maybe on the first day at sea, get up for breakfast and just do a walk of the ship and just get a bit of your bearings of the ship, because it can be like, where am I? What lift do I go in? Where am I here? And there's so many like maps and guides around the ship as well. You're not going to get lost, says me. Yeah, get a little idea of the ship, have a walk around, have a look in different places when it's quieter, like the bars and stuff are quieter for the day, but go in the lifts up and down and sit in the atrium for a little bit and just take it in and just relax if you can. It was a very go, but yeah, just find those moments when you can have a little bit of relax and appreciate the smaller details in the ship for sure. Also, another tip that I didn't do, but I wish I had done, was on our last morning, we actually had breakfast in, but we didn't go for breakfast because it was 7 a.m. and it was a little bit too early. I woke up with a headache, and I had seen this on a previous like tips video. Someone had pre-ordered room service a couple of days before to have on that last day. So what someone had said to do is the day before that, like your second to last day breakfast, order some milk and cereal, have that then in your room for the last day. And I wish I'd done that. My sister, I think, did that or was thinking about doing it, so the kids had something. But I woke up that day, didn't have anything then to eat until we got to the airport, like kind of later morning. So I wish I'd done that and had that. And also, I don't know if this is like a tip, but you can do tax back. And I did say in my vlog that I was doing it, and I did end up doing the whole process of all my receipt. I had 4 receipts, getting a QR code for each one, and then basically you have to go to the airport. You had to then put them receipts or the QR code through a machine, and they confirm that's all good, and you then get your tax back eventually on your payment method. And I thought in my head I was going to get like £30 back. I mean, it's not loads, but it's £30. But in the end, I think it was only about £10 I get back. And at the airport, they can like, not reject it, but they can ask to look through what you've bought. And I had one of those little, I'll show you in a second when I do my haul, but I had a little like butter knife. And so I had to put that in my main bag. And when it got to the airport, it was busy, we hadn't had any food, etc., etc. I don't even think I went past the tax thing because I decided by then I wasn't going to do it. If you are buying a lot of stuff, like the big toys, and it does rally up like the tax, we had like some sort of European, like Spanish tax. Like, it's definitely worth doing if you are buying a lot. Just keep hold of your receipts. You don't have to decide then and there. Just keep hold of your receipts. There's then a table outside the shops that does all of that for you and explains it for you what to do. But yeah, at the airport, you might have to show them what you've bought basically to get it confirmed. It's just a random allocation. You've done nothing wrong. It's just a random allocation. But yeah, I decided to step away from that, but maybe keep hold of your receipts if you do want to get tax back on that. But yeah, I think general tip, just take it in. Take your time and just do a good walk around the ship to get your bearings, and don't feel like you have to pack everything in the first day. Take it easy. Maybe consider like the excursions, like, do you want your whole day taken up by the excursion, or do you want to take more time on the ship? Or do you really want to see these excursions and you're not too fussed about the ship because you've done many a Disney cruise before? It just depends on where you're at with your cruises and things. But yeah, just don't feel too overwhelmed. It can feel like, straight away when you walk on. But just appreciate every moment, take some time, and just take half an hour out just to walk around the ship, have a little look at each place, have a little nosy around, and go in the lifts and all of that, and sit in the atrium, and you'll soon find your sea legs and be all good on the ship for sure. So yeah, that's all the questions. And the lighting's changed because the sun is going down. I've been talking for so long. I'll quickly run through what I picked up then on the cruise ship. So yeah, I'm quickly going to just run through what I bought in the shops. There's 3 shops. One has more like toys and plushes. One's like a big kind of general shop of lots of different cruise things. And then they have like a nice jewellery shop, fancy jewellery shop. And yeah, there's lots of fun stuff on board. I wasn't going to go too mad. I wasn't buying ears. And then these appeared the next day. So had to buy them. And then I really wanted this. I don't know if you can see, pull it up a little bit. It says Disney Cruise Line. And they had this in Mickey and Minnie in like a red captain outfit. But yeah, I really wanted to get this, and I'll wear that on my next cruise. So yeah, in my vlogs I mentioned about me being a silver Castaway Key club member, and they hadn't registered it, and it got sorted really, really quick, and they noted down my other cruise, and it was officially my second cruise. So I was expecting, people had told me that in my room I should have a little like present, like a lanyard and stuff, and it wasn't there when I got to the room. So I was like, oh, can I just check? And I noted down because, you know, I've got a few more cruises coming up, and they were really good and they got it all sorted. But yeah, I then got delivered my gifts for being a silver Castaway Club member. One of them was this lovely beach bag, and it's really decent. I've been using this quite a lot to like transfer like my laptop and stuff. But yeah, that was in the room, and it's a really decent sized bag. Love that. And they also left me a lanyard. So yeah, this would probably be a good tip as well, to have a lanyard with you. We did take a couple with us that did like extend, because you constantly tap in your card for like purchases, for drinks, or we were anyway, for cocktails, and back in your room. But yeah, you're constantly kind of getting your card out and using it and stuff. So a lot of people had these because they've been on a couple of cruises. So you see a lot of people in these, which are the complimentary ones that they gave us. It's just got the thing on the other side. And we also got like a little, like a stamp card for Cove Cafe. And Kieran also got like, he was doing like drink of the day for beers. And they gave, instead of like him lugging around this like plastic cup, they gave him like a little card. So every time he could hand that in, they'd give him the drink of the day. And you almost get like a slightly bigger amount of beer, I think, doing it that way, if you do the beer of the day and if you do the cocktail of the day. It's called like drink of the day. And on the app, it'll say underneath there. So yeah, if you do like a little drink, little cocktail, they say what the drink of the day is on the app as well, and you can ask the bartender, but they can do all sorts of drinks. But you do get a slightly bigger amount. But yeah, so he had a little card as well. So yeah, it was handy to have, either get a lanyard if you've got one from a previous park, or you want a cruise one. They do sell them in the shops also. Or yeah, if you are like coming on to your next cruises and you've been on a Disney cruise before, you will get one. But yeah, it was really handy to have that. These are just little freebies in the room. They do give you some postcards. They're just in the drawer underneath like the big mirror and by the TV. Another freebie that you get is the bandana on Pirates Night, which is really nice. It's got like a pirate Mickey. And yeah, everybody wears these. So you don't have to dress up. Like we had a little bit of like pirate ears on and we had little parrots and things, but some people go full on dressed up and they look amazing. Or you could just wear this. If Kieran had like a pirate shirt on, my sister just had her normal clothes and just put this in her hair. And yeah, it's just a bit of fun. It was so much fun, Pirate Night. There's also Formal Night, one of the nights where they did have like the captain. You could meet the captain and take a picture, and you could like shake the hand or meet the crew as well. And they're all in their fancy uniforms. But again, we didn't dress up super formal. It's not a requirement. You do see some people like, fully glam and dressed up, which is amazing. Do that if you want to, or you can kind of keep it a little bit more casual as well. The only time there's a bit of a dress code is for the adult dining, like the signature dining. But other than that, I was just in a beach shirt and my flip-flops most of the time. So that was all good. And yeah, I did finally get the Animator's Palette butter knife. So they have these on the table. Obviously, it's like an artist brush. And they have these on the table when you dine there. And when I went on the cruise back in 2021, they'd sold out. Because again, it was like pandemic and it was like limited with availability of like merch, but they had them on the cruise ship now. But yeah, they had them in the gift shop. This was $12.99, but it's exactly the same as what they serve in the restaurant, they have in the restaurant to do your bread and butter. So I love that. I wasn't going to get it, and then Kieran was like, oh, that'd be really good for like cheese and cheese board. And I was like, well, you've given me a practical thing to use it for now, so I'm gonna have to buy it. Have some limited edition things for the European sailing. They had like a lounge fly. They had a spirit jersey. They actually brought this stuff out on Disney Store a couple of months ago, and I did see this. I was like, oh, I like that. I'll get it on the cruise if they've still got it. And again, I'm always like, I don't need any more pins. I'm not a pin collector, but I tend to buy at least one pin every time I go anywhere with a Disney trip. I bought the Disney pin, Disney Cruise Line limited release, the Disney Cruise Line Europe pin. So it's just got the ship on there, and it was for the European sailings. And that was $19.99. And I also did pick up a lot of magnets on my travels in the cities, but I did pick up a Disney Cruise Line one as well because I'm just obsessed with fridge magnets. And I got the cruise ship. And this was $14.99 for that one. Little cruise ship. I think that is everything I got. So they do sell these cups still, but I got this one on my last sailing, but you still can get these. I did quite a good walkthrough and a tour of a lot of the merch. I think it's on my Day at Sea vlog. It's on one of my vlogs anyway, so make sure you check that out if you want to have a little look at what merch they'll have, hopefully, on your sailing. They always do like a spirit jersey with fantasy on, and Dumbo is the mascot on the fantasy ship, so you'll see like him on the lounge fly and the ears and the spirit jersey. So yeah, if you are going on the UK sailings, let me know what merch you've got in mind. If you've got a little list together, let me know. But yeah, that is everything that I picked up. So it didn't go too crazy, but because it is very easy to do that. They do have, there's only 2 shops on board, but they do have some lovely stuff. So yeah, I'm glad that we got, and some little freebies as well, which was nice. Always a nice little perk if you get a little freebie. But yeah, guys, I'm going to round up this video now. I've been chatting on for too long. I hope it's covered some bits and answered some questions. Again, always comment if you have any questions. It was one of the most amazing trips that I've been on. I'm so glad I vlogged it. It was great to get back at vlogging after the year that I had last year. And it was a start back into travel and Disney trips. And it was so great to have some family time and experience a Disney cruise together. I'm sure we'll be on another one in the future all together. And yeah, see some great places. But it did definitely, the actual cruise ship and the full experience of a Disney cruise did exceed my expectations. I have got another cruise coming up, which I had booked before I booked this one. So, but I did say to everybody, if I didn't have that booked, I would have come straight off and booked another one in some way, shape or form. And I think a lot of people do that. They kind of love either booking like a UK one or they attach it to their Florida holiday, because Disney are just, you know, they have so many ships coming out now and coming up at the end of the year. There's 2 more ships. And yeah, there's so many cool itineraries you can do. And now I'm trying to tick off all the castles and I'm trying to tick off all the cruise ships. So we can dream, can't we? We can dream. But yeah, it was an absolutely amazing time. The cast members were fantastic. Like, there were some cast members in the pirate show that just spent some time with my nephew, like, just entertaining the kids before the show started. Our servers were fantastic. And again, I said this in my last vlog, but they make you feel like you're the only VIPs in the room, even though they're serving lots of families and they work so hard. I've been a server at a Disney park, but not on a cruise. It's a different level, and the way they say, they remember your name and they make sure, and you feel like they're part of the family by the end of the cruise show. They see so many people, but you just like, you miss them. You miss that kind of, that, even though sometimes it can be a bit like chaotic at dinner and, you know, especially with kids and stuff, but you do miss that kind of like family time. And if you can get that, then just appreciate it. That's all I can say. But yeah, cast members just out of this world. Every single one that we met and talked to and had an interaction with, you know, they're just kind of next level, even compared to the park. So yeah, it wouldn't be Disney, it wouldn't be an experience without them. You can definitely feel that on the cruise ships for sure. And yeah, it definitely gives you that feel if you've been to Walt Disney World and you're used to Walt Disney World and the parks and that kind of feel. And it definitely has that kind of level of service and like guest interaction service and yeah, like the parks, but you're on a ship and it does bring its own flair and difference. And yeah, I can definitely see there was one stateroom that I walked past. They had like every sailing that they'd done in a magnet, and I think they had about 70 sailings. I was like, yeah, that's goals. That's absolute goals. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening to me chat on about the cruise. It was, say, one of the best holidays I've ever done. Absolutely love Disney cruises now. And I'm here if you've got any questions about them. Hopefully I can answer. And I can't wait to share with you my next Disney cruise adventure with vlogs. So make sure you subscribe, like this video. Lots and lots of vlogs coming up with a different type of cruise and different theme parks and destinations. So yeah, I can't wait to share. Thank you so much for everybody who watched the vlogs and all the love I've got from the vlogs. It means so much. Thank you again, guys, so much. And I will see you in my next video. Bye.